Hi, everybody. So, I've been wanting to do like more reviews on this channel and talk about art and different things that I enjoy. And if I'm moved by something, um, my life is so busy right now that I need to carve out time to edit. So for now, I'm just gonna do really spontaneous. When I say spontaneous, they'll be thought out, but live reviews, and then we'll just have it in the queue where you can watch it. And then later, once I can carve out more time, I'll do more edited videos. But I'm gonna do a quick You People live review. So I just watched it on Netflix. And it was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. So, with You People, hi, I'm Chanel J. Wilson, by the way, multidisciplinary artist and author. I have a background in theater and screenwriting and editing as well. And so, when I watch movies, I'm always looking at it from that background, that lens. So, You People, written by Jonah Hill and also Kenya Barris, who's famous for both, what is it, Blackish, and then with Jonah Hill, I'm thinking of all the different movies that he's done. It was funny because when I was watching the movie, I was thinking when he was a part of oh God, Superbad and all the different movies I remember him from. And um now that we are all aging and getting a little older, I was having a moment. I was like, oh my God, I remember watching the coming of age films that he was a part of, and now he's doing this one. So overall, I actually enjoyed the movie a lot. And I was a little shocked because when the trailers were coming out, Black Twitter was like, "Oh my God, Kenya Barris is doing another flick about race," and "Oh my goodness, is there an obsession?" And some of the jokes that people were making on Twitter are actually kind of funny, because sometimes when you think about the dichotomy and the storytelling and the chasms that they tell in shows like Blackish, and then the series that he even had, I think it was, I'm thinking of, was it called Black AF, that he did kind of about his own life. So everybody was kind of like making the comments of what kind of story are they going to tell with this? Haven't we seen this story played out enough? And then I was like, wait a minute, Eddie Murphy's going to be in this, and I'm due for a hardcore comedy with old school Eddie Murphy right now. And when I say old school Eddie Murphy, what I'm saying is, I was born in the '80s, so from my upbringing, a lot of the movies that I remember seeing were like Beverly Hills Cop, and there's Coming to America, 48 Hours. Just thinking about those type of movies that Eddie Murphy was in, even things that he would do with Arsenio Hall, even some of his stand-up comedy. We forget about that Eddie sometimes, that he is a comedian and that his comedic timing is really, really amazing. He's also a very great dramatic actor, and even romantic comedies as well, when you think of some of the things he's done. So I knew we were going to get this comedy-driven Eddie on this one. What I didn't realize is that we were gonna get the opposite side of it, or the sparring with Julia Louis Dreyfus. I was like, okay, here we go. And then David Duchovny, and then the beautiful Lauren London, and then Nia Long. I was like, okay, where are we going with this? This is really cool. So what I enjoyed overall about You People, and this is just for me, is the conversations about African Americans in the Jewish community, everything that was happening at the table, how they would, when they were going back and forth with the various parts of the lines in the scripts. I'm sure all of us have thought about those things before. And so as each one would say something, I found myself with my popcorn like this. Oh my God, they're going there. Like, oh my God, they said this. Oh my God, they said that. I feel like what I wanted to know as I was watching the film is, what was Jonah and Kenya going through in the writer's room, writing these things out and talking about these chasms, talking about these various different topics, from slavery, the Holocaust, and the experiences, and then where we are today. With our situation with African Americans, we're still fighting to get just viewed for reparations. And then when you look at the, other communities, and it's a very interesting conversations, and it sparks so much. But what I enjoyed about the story was they were able to talk about very sensitive and difficult topics and still keep comedy in there. Like, you didn't, when I say cringy, I felt that the movie was very edgy. Like, it was like a no holds bar. We're gonna go there. We're gonna push the envelope. We're gonna say the things you're not supposed to say. And I appreciate that because in this world, when it comes to chasms in certain conversations, there's things you just can't talk about sometimes, or people might say, oh, you're too militant or you're too this. So I appreciate all of the conversations that were brought up in the movie and just what it opened up. I'm interested to hear what other people have to say about it when they see it. So that's what I like about the story per se. When it comes to the controversial topics of the story. Now I'll focus on some of the things I loved about the movie. I love for the cinematography part of the movie, the views of LA and the different sides of LA from both perspectives. How when you go to Ezra, who was the character, the male character Jonah Hill plays, you go to where his family is from, as far as just the way their socioeconomic life has gone, with his father being a podiatrist. And even though that's how he grew up, and even when you see him in church, I thought that was really interesting when he was a part of at the synagogue. And I did not catch the name of the actual service they were having. And if this was a more edited video, I would have typed it up here. But just even watching that, and his mom was like, "Where is your the piece around?" I can't think of the name right now. Everything's slipping my mind now. But just I enjoy movies where there's culture. I enjoy movies where they shed a lens into other groups and other cultures and show us human American stories. That's what I appreciate. And so you see that world first. Then you see Lauren London's character Amira, and her world is a creative, she's a college graduate. She's does what is it with the clothes. Help me out with the phrase here. I can't think about it. She does not set design, clothing design. It's probably clothing designer. She's the clothing designer. So I enjoyed seeing her in that part of her life and her dichotomy. And then you see her with her brother, and you see her having a breakup, and she's like, "Dude, you're just following along with my father's telling you to say so we can stay together. You don't see me." And so some comments people were making on Twitter was that they're still trying to understand how they could see Jonah Hill and Lauren London together. In the beginning, I was like, I wonder how their chemistry is going to flow. I wonder what that's going to look like. And as I got into the movie, I saw it. I enjoyed it. I was like, I'm seeing it. It's coming together. I see two human beings having a relationship, finding a joy within each other, outside of the different cultures. And it worked. You know how there's some movies you're like, okay, this is not working. Y'all didn't do a good test. It worked. Like, even though it was like opposite track, it worked for me. So as far as that's the character part. Now, like I said, the cinematography part with it. Oh, and the other character part was I enjoyed the family dynamics. The uncles that popped up. I think it was Dion Cole's character. I liked when Omar Epps showed up. I loved everybody's favorite auntie Kim, who popped up. Just those little moments, the wig scene, all that. I'm sorry, there's spoilers. I'll try not to give too many detailed spoilers in this because I know it just came out. And so if you're seeing this, I don't want to spoil all of it for you. But the other part that I was going to bring up as far as the cinematography part, I enjoyed the various visuals of LA, present day 2023. Seeing the different places now. I'm from the Bay Area, but I am a little familiar with some of LA, just not like I'm not from LA, so I don't know all of it. But I enjoyed the cinematography of what I saw in LA from the places that I do know, how they were showing certain areas and certain elements of it. And I just was like, this feels nice. And I haven't seen films like this in a while where they let the your city, your town, your area be a part of the story. So I felt LA throughout the whole story, and I enjoyed that a lot. The parts that really when it talks about the characters and the designs, I won't go too much in that detail because I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll leave that part out. So let's look at the color palette. The color palette, from what I remember, okay, I remember there was a lot of lime greens, blues, I think it was like a peach kind of tones. It was really warm. It was definitely orange and teal, but some of those palettes. So I enjoyed the color palette of the movie and the look. When you get to the Koopy scene, I'm just gonna say you'll enjoy that. I really enjoyed some of that. Um, and then the music, Nipsey Hussle. Oh goodness, who else did I hear in there? I think there was some Drake I heard. So there's a lot of hip hop in there. I cannot pull out names. And like I said, this is a very quick review. So I'm doing this like fresh. So I'm probably going to watch it again and see more like, oh, they did that. And there was moments where like you would see Lauren London and then they would cut to a mural of Nipsey. And there was moments where I was like, oh, wow. And then there was one where they had Tupac on like a billboard. And I thought that was cool. Kenya did make a cameo in it, and I thought that was very interesting. I even liked how they talked about certain uncomfortable parts about just things that people do in their lifestyle and how, we judge or we make judgment. And, it's very opposite. The ending had a very, very good payoff, kind of resolve, so to speak. Like every envelope was pushed in the movie, and I enjoyed that because sometimes it's difficult to have some of the conversations when you're dealing with someone. One of the character arcs was the mom and the daughter for Julia Louis-Dreyfus and with Lauren London, how their characters would interact, and the genuineness of where Lauren London was coming from, and even some of the genuineness of where Julia's character was coming from. But on the other side of it, she was still dealing with that area of her life of not seeing her as the token black girl, but just seeing her as the human being that she was. So there would be awkward moments, and you like, oh, I know that one right off the bat, or I know where this is going. So I appreciate that, and even with Eddie Murphy's character and Jonah Hill, when they had to deal with some of the conversations about race, but then also deal with the conversations about just being blatant, like, do you have to be this rude person, do you have to be this person to me, can't you just accept me that I'm someone who wants to love your daughter? So it was one of those kind of movies where it gave you like this conversation. It opened the door for the conversations that need to be had. People like to talk about the tomorrow world or tomorrow people. I've heard that phrase where they talk about our world and blending. Now I will say that interracial relationships will not cure racism. That is not the cure for racism. But I appreciate some of the conversations that were had in this movie as you saw the character dynamics coming together and just the clashes, the chasms, even David Duchovny playing John Legend on the piano. That was like such a good move. And I heard it, I was like, oh my God, is he playing that? And then him always referencing Exhibit. There were so many moments in the movie. So if you get a moment, go ahead and see it, go ahead and view it. I feel like it's a beautiful, I'm not going to say it's a love letter to LA, but I will say LA is a beautiful backdrop in the film. It's like a character of itself. Oh, and I really loved Nia Long in this too, because I was wondering how they were going to pull this off, because Nia's like 52, Lauren's like 38, I'm 42. I've grown up watching all these people, and I was like, how is she going to pull off playing her mom? Because I see them more as they could be sisters or maybe a young auntie niece kind of thing, or how my one of my aunts, or one of my aunts was like 17 when I was born. So they were kind of, it's a different dynamic, even though they're still auntie. So she played her mom, and I was like, how's this gonna work? And as I watched the story, I was like, oh, she's really holding this. Like, even though, how it is when they always say like black doesn't crack. So she can play someone a little bit older and still play her mom. And I got the vibe. Like I even liked when they had one scene and they cut Nia Long's hair a certain way. And I said, okay, I'm feeling this. She feels like her mama right now. Even and it didn't come off like she was old or older or any of those things. But I was curious to see how everyone was going to do with their range and their acting with this, because when they announced it, some people were like, Nia Long and Lauren, they're not the same age, but the range of their age still she'd be her young mama, and like how is this going to work? So it was actually a really good story. Get a moment this weekend, take a look at it, watch it. It's really just beautiful. So that's my quick You People review. If I'll definitely, if I watch anything else this week, I'll definitely come on and talk about it as well. So I'm Chanel J. Wilson, multidisciplinary artist and author, and I will definitely be back for more. All right, have a good one. Bye.